questions you may have before we start the actual buyer transaction paperwork on how to complete that. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to stop me, and we'll get through it together. So this is basically your home board. This is how it looks every time you sign on to the MLS. So in the middle, you have your RMLS, which takes you to another site where you would do your training for your MLS. If you have not done your training, you must go ahead on and sign on to that. This is how that screen is going to look. A lot of passwords, guys, and I forget my passwords all the time. So try to remember to make sure you write down your passwords so that it doesn't get you confused on which sign in to do. You see, I'm still can't get in. I think this one is Karen. I should have practiced that right before I came in, right? That one take? All right, so that one took. So if you did not do your training for the MLS, you have your training on this system. You can go look at all the training videos that they have to offer. When we have to pay different things, you would go on this site to pay. If it's the MLS, you would pay. If it's the Super or any other things, you're going to go to Liberty Board of Realtors to pay. So remember, you have the Liberty Board of Realtors because you have to, as a realtor, you have to join a board. So Liberty Board is totally different than our MLS, which is your Hudson County MLS dashboard for the back end office of what you need to do as an agent. So on Hudson County MLS, this is where you would pay for that if you didn't pay for anything then. Also, if you need forms, most of our forms are in our .loop and our DocuSign on our command system. But if you need MLS forms, you can always get different forms from here too. Training and videos, again, in order to put in any listings that you will be getting listings, whether it be a rental listing or a for sale listing, you have to make sure you go and do the broker load training. Otherwise, it's not going to allow you to use the MLS to put your listings in. So that's about it on this one that I wanted to show you for the RMLS, which is part of the Paragon, which is your Hudson MLS. So those two systems are pretty much one and the same. One is your back end office to do all your things in, find your reports, pay any payments. This is your front end of the MLS. Your front end of the MLS is going to allow you to look for listings for your clients. It's going to allow you to do CMAs. It's going to allow you to do a whole lot of things. If you want to start building a contact list here for your clients, you can build a contact list here and put all your clients in the system. This way you have a list of all your clients. And you see, I don't have a lot because I don't use it very often, but you can put each client in. I think this client go all the way back from 2011, 2015. It just hold your clients and send out searches if you set it up correctly. What I use on here every day is my home. You have where you have your listings, where it says my listing information. That's gonna keep tag of all your listing activity, whether it's new. It'll tell you if it's about to expire, the amount of listings you have, what's under contract, what listings you have that's under contract. Then you have the market. The market is everything on the MLS from every brokerage. You'll see everything that's new, everything that's expired, price changes, everything that's on a hot list, what has sold and what is under contract. Then if we just want to do it based on what our office is doing, we'll see our office activity. You see what's new, what's expired, how many listings the office have, our hot sheet, what's going on for the day, what's sold, what's pendings that are listings, pendings that are sold, and what's active on the market. So let's just go back to mine for a minute and let's click on the listings. This is going to give you everything about yourself. all your listings, what's under contract, what's a rental, what's active. Dabo means deposit accepted by owner. So when it's Dabo, you as an agent still have the right to get your buyer into that property to see because it's not fully under contract. Dabo just means that the owner has accepted deposit on this property. So if you really want to see this property, you can push to get your client in. Unless they have a letter stating that the seller no longer wishes to show this property, they are required to make arrangements so that your client can see the property. You have to tell your client they have an offer, it's in attorney review, offer has not been accepted. It's up to you if you want to still see it, I can get us in. That's your job. Don't let an agent tell you, oh, no more showings. Ask them, well, is that in writing from the seller? Because my client really want to see it. Just make sure your client really want to see it before you go pushing with another agent. Now, when it goes to under contract, it's under contract. You can't show it no more. You don't supposed to show it at all unless the owner has put in writing that it's under contract, continue to show. Um, Even if they continue to show, everything is subject to a backup offer. So if your client says a short sale is generally going to take a long time. They want to make sure that perhaps if that first buyer back out, they have other buyers in the pipeline. So they may say under contract, but continue to show. So you understand that even though you're showing, your client have to know that they're only there for backup offers only because there's an offer already accepted and out of attorney review. That's the difference between Dabo and under contract. Under contract is already out of attorney review. Therefore, even if you submit an offer, it's going to be subject to a backup offer. Everybody okay with that? Understand that? Okay. Now let's just look on how to read an MLS. So up here is your MLS number. Each MLS system, and we have about 5 different systems, they're going to have a different MLS number. So your client might give you an MLS that looks similar but is different. It might be the New Jersey MLS. They're a little bit similar to ours. This first 20 stands for the year. So this property was 2020. Um, Let me just give you an example. I'll go to, oh, I'm right here in this one. Let me just give you an example of this one. And you see, as I'm typing it up, it will come up for you, and then you can just search and accept it. So 121 Kensington, you see how this is 19? That was 2019. That's 15, 2015. 16, that was um, in 2016. So the first 2 numbers determine what year it is. So we're about to go into 2021. So this 20 is going to be 21. Then you know that MLS is pretty relatively new. Go back to my own listing. So this is 51 Audubon. That's the address, unit number. A lot of times the agents won't put a unit number on there, so you might get to the building. Now you're confused as to which unit it is. You can try to match it up based on where it says, because it says first level. So then you can assume it's the first level. Sometimes it's on the 3rd floor and they put it in the first one. So you're not crazy. The agent just is being a lazy agent and not putting it in its proper place. So when you get a listing, please make sure you try to put the unit number on and match it up with the floor. This way, nobody calling you for any extra questions. One less call is one less time that you have to waste of your own time. Sorry about that. County section. This is Jersey City, it's Hudson County. The section is West Bergen. Um, it takes a little time to get used to where properties are in Jersey City. But if you look at the tax record, and I'm gonna pull a tax record up for you, you go through taxes, Hudson County, New Jersey tax records. You already know that the street we're going to look up by the street. We know it's Hudson County already. We know it's Jersey City. We know the street name is Audubon, so you're going to do A for Audubon. Then you just look in, find Audubon, and then you know the address was 51. So we're going to pull in 51. So on 51, you have your lot, your block. You see this here? It says West Bergen. If it was Greenville, it'd come up Greenville. If it's Bergen Lafayette, it'd say Bergen Lafayette. If it's downtown, it's downtown. Journal Square, you'll see it come up on your tax rec to help you gauge where the property is when you go to list it on the MLS. So in this case, West Bergen type is a residential rental. It'll give you the cross streets. Your cross streets is going to help you when you're trying to navigate through Jersey City and you got 3 or 4 properties to show. Sometimes I know Jersey City pretty well now, so I don't do it Jersey City, but when I go to other towns, I'll start my starting point from the office and I'll put it in MapQuest and put everything in MapQuest and then have MapQuest order my arrangement of which property I should show first. This way I'm not crossing back and forth for no reason when the other property was right around the street, around the corner. I don't want to cross town and back. So until you get to know Jersey City, unless you know Jersey City well, you might want to use MapQuest to help you navigate when you got to show 3 and 4 properties so you know which street to start at first, because you wouldn't want to go from Audubon to Kensington back to Stevens. That's just too much back and forth. You want to put it in order from the office. I'm going to hit Kensington. I'm going to hit Audubon, and then I'm going to hit Stevens. This way, I'm not wasting my time and my gas and going back and forth with traffic and everything. So you let the modern technology of MapQuest help you to navigate how to make sure you idolize your time and get into your appointments. Now, you got the lot and block that's going to be from the tax record. I already showed you that. When is it available? Sometimes agents will call and say, well, when is it available? It's on the MLS. If the agent do their due diligence when they putting a listing up, they will put a date that it's available so you don't have to call me. Just look on the MLS, it'll tell you. It'll tell you if pets is allowed. In rentals, we don't put a lot of this information as far as the lot size and the heat and the water. The WS is water and sewage. Condos, we usually use approximate lot size. When you're doing a apartment in a house, we generally do not do lot sizes. We just put the description of what it is. KT, kitchen, LR, living room, DR, dining room, bedroom, full bath, and then HP will be half bath. Sometimes it might have other. Other could be the backyard, attic use, basement use, washing and dryer use, whatever it is. If it's an other, generally it's going to be explained somewhere in those broker remarks or advertiser remarks. When you're looking at the features, you're trying to see what does this offer. This is where it would be. It's a full basement. It's near bus park, schools, no parking. Just read and see, what it is that this rental or this listing has to offer for your buyer or your tenant. When you need to schedule an appointment, you just click on the show and time button if it's there and available, and then you would search. I'm going to search for Dane. If I search it, Dane is going to give me everybody that's there. I'm going to click on the person that want to do this showing. Now I can schedule for them or they can schedule for themselves. I choose not to schedule for nobody unless I have to because I didn't put the instructions in. But if I put the instructions in, then they can go ahead and schedule themselves. If not, I'll do a single showing and I'll do, click on the date you want, click on the time you want. Generally it's 30 minutes to 2 hours. So in this case, I put in 30 minutes for showing. So on Super Lockbox, when I hit the request appointment, because it's a go and show, it's vacant, She's going to get the information automatically to her email. Super lockbox. It's going to give you all the instructions. There's no need to call the listing agent, um, because your showing time will give you confirmation of everything that you need to do to show that property. Go back to the MLS. These little icons right here. M is for the map. So you want to see where this property is located. You're not familiar with Jersey City, just click it on. It tell you just go down Kennedy Boulevard. It's somewhere between Stegman and Audubon. It's like quarter way down the block. That's an eighth away because that's a long block. So this way you have an idea. Oh, it's by New Jersey City University. From the office to here, it should take me about 15 minutes to get to that property. Um, we run around a lot, so we have to make sure we do our timing. Um, to me, anywhere in Jersey City should take you anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes with traffic. You're going from here to Bayonne, that's about 30 minutes. So just try to get in your head the timing to make sure you get to your apartment and your appointment and your client on time. D is for details. When they say you need to sign lead, guys, this lead form should be in every listing unless it's new construction. This is a fine, $50 fine, because our office have had so many fines already. So you're just going to automatically get a $50 fine from the MLS if you don't upload this lead document when you have the listing. But as when you're working with the buyer and the tenant, you want them to sign the lead, this is where you're going to get it. I've made it a habit since we had the coronavirus to make sure that I upload the release form with the seller signature so that the agent who is showing don't have to call me for anything. The less time you have to call me, the less time I have to waste trying to help you. So if I make it all available for you, there should be no need to call me, the listing agent. Following instructions and you have all your documents here. So as a listing agent, once you get into putting your listings on, the lead is automatic. Everybody have to do it. Please make sure to put it up in there and then make it a habit with the COVID release. Put that in there as well. This way, nobody's calling you back and forth as to what they need or can you send. And then you have to interrupt your schedule to do something for them. Now, when we're looking at the pictures could lie sometimes. So it might look great by the pictures, but you actually, until you actually go out and see it, you can't really make a determination as to how this unit really is. So the only thing with the pictures I want to make sure that you're aware of when you're doing a listing, you have to have a picture of the front. Now, this picture of the front can be copied from any old MLS that might be out there. Interior pictures, you cannot copy anybody's interior pictures at all onto your listing. So just make sure that, if you need the front, that's okay. But interior, you can't go snatch up my pictures or any other person's pictures. Otherwise, the MLS will fine you. And we don't like fines. We want to avoid all fines as possible. The T is for the tax record. It's going to show it in a different way than what you've seen it, but it will give you all the same information. It'll give you the lot and the block that you need. It'll give you the owner's information that you need. It's going to tell you, it's not going to tell you which area it is in. So I usually don't click on that unless I just need something real quick like the lot and block, then I will. I usually go do the way I showed you and go to the actual tax record and pull it from there. But it's on here, so you should know what it is. T is the tax record. Now, remarks to your corporating broker. This is for you. You're the agent. These are your remarks. These are your instructions. Call showing time for appointment. Complete the application, loan and credit report, enter your ID, pay stubs, letter of employment, current taxes, and bank statement, and email to me, which is the listing agent. Each listing agent will have their own details and instructions based on how that property is. Please only call me if there's questions. And a lot of people, do it take pets? It's already up here that it takes no pets because I said no. But just to make sure, because I get a lot of calls, I'm going to put it in bold so you see no pets. So don't even ask. And I said it twice. Possible interview on Zoom with the landlord. Right now, for the next 2 weeks, he's here, but then he'll be back in Florida. But he want to meet everyone because in the summertime he comes this way and he stays this way. So he has kids, he has a family. He want to know who's staying in the property. So that's a requirement for this landlord. Some landlords do not want to know the tenant, don't care about the tenant. Let me see the details of the tenant. They don't want the identity to even be known. They hide behind LLCs. So it all depends when you're taking that listing, what that landlord wants. If they want to interview, they have to interview everybody that's putting in an application. You can't say, oh, I don't want to interview them and I'll interview them or I won't interview them. If they put in an application and they seriously, he has to interview all of them so that he avoid discrimination. Then advertising remarks. Renovated 3-bedroom first floor, unit located near parks, shopping malls, local bus lines to Journal Square Path, New York Port Authority. I put Journal Square Path in there, New York Port Authority, because those are keywords. When you're putting in your advertising, people are looking for transportation a lot of times. So a lot of times when you put keywords in, it's going to draw more traffic to your listing because of the transportation. So make sure you put different keywords in there. Heat, hot water, gas, and electric is included in this unit. Then some features across from NJCU, which is a university, 440 shopping district, which is very close by. Advertising terms that are definitely going to avoid is mentioning these things like places of house of worship. Um, um, this is a short walk because remember, if I'm in a wheelchair, I can't walk, so you just discriminate against me. So key terms that you learned in your real estate class, avoiding your advertising remarks. Our MLS will, they do read our remarks. So if they see something that's inappropriate, they're going to make sure that they send me as your broker email and they're going to take it out, tell you to remove it. And Garden State may fine you. So just be careful with your advertising remarks. But the MLSs do read your remarks. Information down here is about the agency, Keller Williams City Life. You'll see all the information about our brokerage, where we're located, our phone numbers and everything related to it, and our license number for the office. If it was Caldwell Banker, it would be all that information. Weicker, all that information. So if you click on the first one, it's all the information about the brokerage. The next one is all the information about the agent. Where they at, their phone numbers. I don't even see that my personal cell phone number is in here, which is interesting. I thought that always come up. But, oh, it's up over here though. So you see my cell phone number. Why would I need information? Because I might need to email you the MLS, the offer or the lease agreement or lease application. And a lot of agents don't put their information up here. I always make a habit to put it up there just in case they don't click it here, or they might not even know that it's here because they never clicked it. So it's there if the agent needed it, but I put it in my remarks too. How do we get paid? The rental compensation in this case is paid by landlord. It may say paid by tenant. It may say paid by both. So if it's paid by tenant, it's going to be split 50-50. I mean, the tenant will bring the whole 1900. It's paid by the landlord is going to pay the whole 1900. If it's paid by both, they're going to split the 1900. And what's that? 850 each, something like that. Tell me if I'm right on that number, right? 8 and 8. Nope, a little bit more than that. Y'all gonna make me do the math? Why you ain't helping me? Let's see. 8, 9, 950. 950 each. Now remember, they have to pay the $100 broker fee. So it's gonna be 950 plus 100 to Keller Williams. So that means my commission is gonna be 1050, and whoever bring the tenant, if it was being even though it's paid by the landlord, it's still split in half. The other person is going to get half of that, which is the 950 minus 100. So that's going to be 850. So when you add the 1050 and 850 all together, you're looking at the total of the 1900 commission. So now the commission is complete. One other thing, when you're listing on the MLS, this is SAC. It's not a sales agent. This is a sub agent. We do not work as sub agents anymore, but it's still on all our documentation. Please always make sure that's zero. We don't pay sub agents. BAC is buyer agency and TB is transaction broker. We work with both of these. They both must equal the same amount. If you paying a buyer agent 0.5%, you have to pay the transaction broker 0.5%. If it's you're working with the buyer agent has to be paid, say if it's 2.5, you cannot pay the transaction brokerage 2%. You will get a fine from the MLS and a note to correct it. So these two have to match. Whether it's a TB or a BA, if it's 2.5 minus 100, this side got to be 2.5 minus 100. In this case, it's a rental, so 0.5 have to be equal to 0.5 minus the 100. The SAC is always going to be zero. So that's how to read a MLS document from the top to the bottom. Any questions on that part?
Hey, Karen, what's the 0.5?
0.5 is half of the 1950.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. So let's go to how to search. I'm working with a buyer or a tenant. So how do I look for what they want? So I'm going to search based on their criteria because I did a buyer consultation with them, so I know what they want. So we're going to pretend that they want a 2-family. And we know based on their mortgage approval, because we want to work with buyers that have been approved and can show you that they have been pre-approved, they can afford anywhere from $375,000 to their higher budget would be $500,000. We know that they want a 2 or 3 family. So click on, you see where it comes up 2 or 3 family. We know they're looking in Jersey City. They say they're not, they don't care where at in Jersey City, as long as it could fit their budget. We'll pull up Jersey City. And you see all the areas come up for Jersey City. So I'm going to select them all because they don't care. Then you see how this number is 6468, that's a lot of inventory. That's between those 2 price points. But we only want what's active because what's under contract don't matter. What's doubled, unless they, got a good offer, they probably won't get accepted because they already got an offer on the table. We don't want TOM because it's off the market, so it's not going to do us any good. So we want everything that's active, and perhaps VOM, which is back on the market. So if some reason the property came back on the market, we'll look at those 2. So you see how I brought it down from 6,000 to 29 units. Let the computer do the work for you. If you know that they want just 2 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms, you can put that in. But the more information you put in, this number is going to go less and less. So
Karen, if you don't mind, I have a question, please. Yeah, just what's the difference between all active and active?
All active, you're going to get everything from rentals on the market, and the temporary is going to come up.
Okay.
I don't want the rentals. I just want,
Oh, I see. Okay.
I don't want anything that's temporary off the market neither. So I'm going to search through these 29 things. A lot of times it takes time, guys, to see exactly what your buyers want. And our MLS doesn't just allow us to take what's parking or what's not parking. And then sometimes buyers will say they want parking, but then we'll send you houses that don't have parking. So unless they have a commercial vehicle, I would still say show them what's in their price point. Let them be the ones that say, no, we're not going to do it. Definitely no parking. because the moment you say you don't show it to them, they walk into an open house with somebody else, fall in love with the house, and now you crying because why you didn't come to me, why you didn't do this. Well, you never showed me this one. Well, you always say you didn't want parking. This doesn't have parking. Well, we just love this house. So now you're fighting to get your client back to write up the contract because they don't want into something that they said they didn't want. So try to just let them be the ones to rule it out, not you. If you increase that, you see the pictures. And again, a lot of agents don't put interior pictures. So you have to make sure that you read the description because sometimes it might be a fixer up. And it's a lot of work, guys. But when you want to work for your buyer and truly not waste their time or yours, do the work up front. This way, if it needs some work and they're not the people that want to do the work, this might not be the property for them. And then you just scroll through each one. If they don't want to attach property, maybe not send it to them. If it only has like investors, this is a 2-family, but one unit is a studio, doesn't have a bedroom. Investors want to make sure they can get the optimal amount of rent that they can get. So this will not work for investors, especially at this price point. So just know your buyer, and you're only going to know your buyer by making sure you do a thorough buyer consultation to
So
see what.
Karen, I got a question about this because I really like the automated emails, and I usually put them on the drip through Paragon. But what I'm finding is that a lot of the properties with just one photo come up, right? Or there are like the interior needs like substantial amounts of work, right? So what I'm doing is I'm actually putting a minimum price to try to eliminate some of those, but I think that's a little bit flaky. It's not really very good way of doing it. So apart from manually going through everything, is there a way to exclude those properties from the list?
Nope. Our MLS is like with Garden State, you can click in your criteria new construction or recently built or renovated. Hudson MLS, we're still in the dinosaur age. So no, our MLS will not let us nitpick what we want for our client. So no, to answer your question, unfortunately. So that's why it's always good to see what's coming through on the hot sheet daily. The hot sheet will take you, I'm gonna go to the market because you're only going through the hot sheet. So say that was what 375 to 500. It may have over 329 items daily that come through and new, but you're looking for a specific property. So you're just going to go to where it starts with 375 or maybe even a 350. And you're going to see, what's active and if it fit your client's criteria. That was only a 1-family. Then you go to the next one that's active. And you can always put this stuff in price point order too. You can switch it around so that it's in the price point. You can switch it around so that it's by the cities. And then it shows, so you only want to look in Jersey City. So now you're only looking at Jersey City heights and stuff. So you can narrow it down. Then you see that, okay, none of this in the new today meets my client's criteria. So it just takes a little bit extra work, unfortunately, to find the right property for your client. But if you make it a habit to check the hot sheets daily, that's going to give you the best opportunity to stay on the market, see what's out there for your client. Also, if you go and start visiting some of the open houses, start to get to know different agents. One agent might have something that's coming to the market. You build relationship with agents, and they'll be like, "Yeah, remember I was at the open house. I spoke with you. Here's this 2-family. I'll be putting it on in the next 2-3 days." So try to build relationships, and the only way we build relationships is meeting people, meeting agents, and by going to different open houses, learning our inventory. Let's go back to home. We was on the search, the 2-4 family. So once you narrow it down, and let's say we narrowed it down to, I'll take a few, to the ones with the parking, and we're going to send those to your client. Over here, you hit show check. This way it took it down from 29 to, get rid of you, you don't have parking, to the 6 that had the parking. You can share it via text. You can share it via email. If you were going out on the appointment with them, you already scheduled and they know which ones you're going, you would hit print plus. When you hit print plus, you're going to remove the default and you're going to add the customer with address, and you're going to add the agent because you're the one showing it. Then you can either print it or put it in a PDF. If you're going to put it in a PDF and do everything electronic, don't send them the agent copy. But when you go to put it in a PDF, it won't let you save this way, the agent copy. So you can print, and it take a minute to build a report. But say you didn't want to print it, you would just change it in your system from the printer to a PDF, hit save it to your hard drive, and we're going to put this as Sam, that's the client name, and MLS client. That's how I would remember it, save it on my desktop, and then send Sam an email with that. If I was going to print it, and because we're going out together, then of course I would just print it for him, and then I have paper. If you want to eliminate paper, do it the other way. If Sam wanted the analysis, on a CMA of how it would be, you can easily take all those ones that you selected, again, hit print plus, and it's going to give you this available different reports that you can do. So you can do a CMA quickly for your client, add that, remove that one. Again, if you hit print, let the computer do the work, it's going to give you a CMA. Of course, this would be active, sold, and double if you're going to do a CMA. But if these was all sold, it'll give him the averages. The high, the low, the average, the medium, if he's trying to put in an offer. So just using this print plus give you a lot of options to work with a lot of different things under here for your client. Now that's all with showing the properties, how to read it. Then you have supers and you have combo lot boxes. We don't supposed to use combo lot boxes. That's a $250 fine if the MLS should catch you. But that's a lot of agents they need to catch. We use both systems though are out there. So I don't have a combo on me. I'm at my house, so I don't have the combo or the super. But if you need help using that, John Carlos, I'm not sure if John Carlos can help you with the super, but just call me directly if I have to make arrangements to come in the office to show you how to use a super or a combo. Combo is like when you was in high school and you had to put in the code and open it up. It's just not a turn code. It's just pretty much a manual code that you put straight across, open up the lockbox, get the keys out. Same with the super, it's from your phone, it's electronic. So you just have an app on your phone that you would communicate with the Bluetooth of the device. You have your own personal code that you would type in on your phone from your app, and it will communicate with the Supra and allow it to release and open up the Supra for you to get the keys. Please make sure to always put the keys back. You don't know how many agents take the keys, put in a different Supra, take the keys with them. They're down the shore. It's the summer. It was a Friday. They forgot to put the keys back. Now you stranded for your open house over the weekend. Or now it's holidays. They're rushing and they forget to put the keys back. you cause so much anxiety for a listing agent when the keys go missing and try to track them down. So just try to be responsible and make sure that you're putting the keys back in the right super, because sometimes buildings may have 3 or 4 different supers. So put it back in the right super, put them back in the right lockbox. Here's a little tip. When you're using combo lockboxes in the wintertime, they freeze. So if you know you're going out and you know that there's a few combos that you got to open up and it's super cold out, bring you a cup of thermostat with hot water. Hot water will release the keys from being frozen so that you can open it up. And now you avoid a little embarrassment with your client because you couldn't get in the super.
Karen, I'm sorry, quick question.
Combo.
On the app that you were talking about, the super app, is that how we find out the code for the lockbox?
No, when you get that, and let me see if it popped up because I sent it to Yolanda. That should have came up. So Yolanda should have gotten a showing time confirmation. You as the agent also get the showing time confirmation. In that confirmation that went to Yolanda, there's going to be all the instructions with the lockbox or the super instructions for the agent.
Okay. And let's say that, I'm sorry.
It will come to you electronically because it want to make sure that you, Alex, is an agent and not
Okay.
Alex, her client that's going through. So showing time is never going to give you that combo over the phone.
Okay.
Because they
Okay.
don't know who you are. It's always going to be verified through the email to you through their system.
Okay. So anytime I want to go, let's say I just want to go check out a property for a potential client, I have to schedule it through the MLS because the agent needs to know I'm going, right?
Well, you could either schedule it through the MLS. It all depends on what those remarks is. So let's go to this one. This one say contact listing agent for access.
Okay, got you.
Phone number, you text them, then they'll tell you, you know, what to do.
Got you. Okay.
So everybody
Perfect.
don't pay into showing time. That's a system that's paid. So because everybody don't pay into showing time, they may not have that system. So you always have to read the broker remarks to see exactly what they want. This
Okay.
one,
Perfect.
24-hour notice. Oh, this look like it's me. No weekend showings. Questions. But again, you can go Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4:30 to 6:30. And if the showing time app is open, it will be there. See how this one was blue, but now this one was request showing, so it's not open. So instructions would be to text her. So just look at the broker remarks. That's going to tell you what to do.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions as far as showing, searching for properties for your buyer, for your
Yeah, I've got a question about the lock boxes. I'm just curious, like if we all start using these electronic lock boxes, are we going to run into issues where agents that don't have Supra trying to access these properties, or does Paragon actually, the Hudson MLS, mandate that every agent should be able to get a Supra key and unlock those boxes?
So we have a lot of agents coming from out of town that don't have Supras. That is correct. And the Hudson MLS states that, we have to have Supras, even though there may be some other arrangements. Our office don't hold keys. So it's not like they could just walk in 9 to 5 and pick up a key unless you put that key in the envelope and give it to John Carlos and say, can you give this envelope to such and such agent, and put the agent's name and information on it. But we do not just generally hold keys and keep count of everybody's keys. That's just not our system. Some offices have a backup where they keep keys at the office so that if those agents who don't have Super can get access, they go straight to the office and pick up a key. Our case, we don't do that. So if you have a key that, you have a lockbox, but you have your spare keys, then they're gonna have to text you, and then you're gonna have to take that key that you have that's a spare and put it in an envelope, put it at the office, and they have to pick it up within office hours. We're not open on Saturday and Sunday. So that means if they don't have the key, what I have done is I have a lockbox over in front of the office. I'll put that key in that lockbox and say, pick it up from my lockbox. Here's where my uh, lockbox is located. You can take it out of that combo lockbox at the office.
Okay, so there's no remote unlock capability in Supra.
You have to have a super access to access the property. And then if you go into different areas, like I'm in Garden State, I'm in New Jersey MLS, I'm in Central MLS, I have access to all those MLSs because I pay into it. Therefore, I can access with my Supra from my phone to those things. But if I didn't have access as a member to the MLS, I wouldn't be able to access those units. Just like they wouldn't be able to access my Hudson County unless they get access through the.
And if we want to buy some of these Supra lock boxes, we have to buy it through our office.
Yeah. So our office, we have supers. It's 110. You pick one up, you get it's yours. You keep it. You leave, it's still yours because you paid for it. You just tell John Carlos you need a super. He'll give you your shackle number and your codes to go with the lockbox, and then we will bill you that 110 on your next month statement.
But Karen, these Supras that you mentioned, it's for the Hudson County only, right?
Yeah. So if you want
Okay.
Garden State, you have to email them, make your payment, and then send it to your home or to the
I
office.
see. Mhm.
Central and all the rest of them.
So outside of just having the app, which we pay for, what's the 110 getting us, the actual super lockbox?
Actual blue super lockbox. Correct.
Okay, but we don't need that unless we have a listing.
Correct.
Okay, okay.
Unless you want to show all your listings yourself, which if you're going to do a lot of inventory, that will be a pain in the butt. And I want everybody to do a lot of inventory and not be pain in the butt. So therefore, you will get that 110 and get your own devices. So this is everything as far as the MLS. We're going to do CMAs another time in depth on how to create a CMA, how to do a CMA, how to look for it, how to narrow it down. So I'm not going to go into that. Listing, again, as a new agent, if you don't have maintained listing on this side, that means you didn't do, you don't have maintained listing on this side, that means you did not do the video. I suggest you do the video as soon as possible because the minute you get a listing, you need to put it up within 24 hours of it being signed. So if today is the 23rd, I take a listing today, I have till 24th tomorrow to make sure I get it on MLS or I'm subject to another fine. MLS love to fine us, so just be in compliance, get your video in, do what you need to do, and this side will open up where we say maintain listing. Then once you can add a listing, whether it's a 1 family, 2 family, vacant land, condo, then you'll be able to add a listing. If you go to maintain a listing, it's a little trick here. I'm going to go to my listings, what's active, search. I have 207 Bauer Street. I know that I'm going to relist this today, and it's going to now go from 219 to 195, and it's going into short sale. I can duplicate this listing without having to do everything over. So let me just do that again. My listings. On the left-hand side, where it says select, I can maintain the listing. I could just change the expiration date. I can add a tour, or I can copy and clone this listing. So if I hit copy and clone, it's going to take everything over, and I'm just going to have to put the new date in, the new expiration date in. The new amount, and
Karen, do we still have to do this? Let's just say we're working in Bergen County, right? And it's not in Hudson County. Do we still have to enter it in the Hudson County MLS? Was that
so
something that?
Hudson County is your primary MLS system, so it should be in both. It should go in your primary and then go into Bergen. Now, remember, when you're in different MLSs, they overlap. So depending on what town in Bergen County, it might overlap with something that needs to go in Garden State. Or if you're in Garden State and in your particular, it might overlap and go with New Jersey. Or if you're in Central New Jersey, it may overlap and go with Garden State. So Hudson is your primary, so it should go on your primary. And then,
Oh, I see. So it has to always go in the primary. And is that because that's what's actually synced with Command?
no, all of them are synced with Command through IDX. As long as you have IDX, it's in sync with your website. With Command, it's going to come on the system. But your primary board is Liberty Board of Realtors, so that's the primary board. And Hudson County is your primary MLS, so that's what you should be working in. But if you're working in other MLSs, it's fine, as long as you put it in your primary too.
So even if the property is like in a different county, primary is considered from our belonging to a board, not the primary location, like the location of the.
Yeah, your primary MLS, which is the Hudson.
Okay.
So
So
if
are you
want
paying
to-
are you
Go ahead.
paying fees for entering in both the Hudson and the other MLS?
So if you, yes, you are. If you're going to be in New Jersey, in Garden State, it just went from 6250 to I believe 87 a year, 87 every 6 months. It was 6250 every 6 months.
No, I
New
mean
Jersey-
if you include the listing in both.
oh no, we will only charge you for the Hudson.
Okay.
I find that it causes a lot of confusion because what you end up with is multiple MLS numbers, right? You get one MLS number from New Jersey MLS and another MLS number from Hudson.
Yeah,
And
a lot
then-
of fees if you don't maintain all three of those listings. Yeah, you're exactly right. It's a lot of money.
And in showing time, it gets a bit confusing too, because I was doing some showings for a client and like I register in showing time for an MLS, and then I go over there and I find out that my key didn't work on the lockbox. And the agent didn't realize she registered on two different MLSs. And she says, oh no, this is a different key. You have to use it from another MLS, which I wasn't registered from.
You was showing or you was listening?
Yeah, it was a showing. It was a showing, yeah, in East Orange. So I went over there, took my client there, and then realized I couldn't open the box. It was a bit embarrassing, but
Oh yeah, if you showing outside of Hudson County, you better make sure you have Garden State Super Access. And
she was using Central Jersey. That was sort of weird.
Central. Oh yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't belong to Central Jersey.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I registered to as many of them as I could, even though I'm not going to really be doing business there. It's just the inconvenience of trying to open up the lockbox while you're doing showings. It's just, yeah.
Sometimes you have to ask the listing agent, can you meet me there? Do you have a team member that can meet me there? Will the owners be there? Can the tenant let me in? When you don't have access to the other MLS systems. It truly is the listing agent responsibility to make sure that agents can get access, but they say pretty much, sorry, I can't help you. They just don't care. But a true listing agent that needs to sell the property and work for the seller will properly make sure you get access somehow. Whether you have to pick up that key from the office, whether they hide it, whether they send somebody to let you in, that truly is the listing agent responsibility to help you. So that would just be on how to duplicate anything. You get one building, you have 4 units. You don't want to type this all 4 times. You create one, and then you just change the information, whether it be unit number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. This way you use in the future in the system to copy and clone the property without having to sit there and type everything over and over and over. I'm just going to save this as a posture and I can go back. It to ask you if you want to copy the pictures, if you want to copy the documents. Remember I said I always copy the documents. So yes, the lead and the COVID, I want to make sure that I put in there. So I hit copy. And then I'm just going to hit finish. And this will go as my partial listings being saved. So I have the office, but this will be my own personal partial listings. That would be on the listing side. So we did searches for buyer. We did listings on once you get a listing, how to put it in. We're going to do CMA either January or February. I have it on a calendar. We know how to add the context. There's financials that you can use in here. I'm sorry, that's an attorney. Marty, let me call you back. I'm teaching class. Okay. If you want, what I do when I do my open houses, I get different mortgage reps to do it. Sorry. Frank, can you call the other line? My husband will come down. All right, so you going to the office or you coming to 100 Valley? Yeah, but I'm on class. It's 12 to 2. I sent a text message. Yeah, my husband is, though. He can come down. All right, thank you very much. Uh-huh. 100 Montgomery. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Why don't nobody listen to text messages no more? So most of my mortgage calculations I get from a mortgage representative directly, but if you want preparing for your open house and you want to do your own, you can click on and give an example of what it would be. Say it's 229,000, tax margin rate, interest rate. We know it's a little bit lower than that. So let's say 3.75 for 20 year and maybe 3.85 for 30 year. Get the calculations. You see how it breaks it down for you. It gives you your monthly payments. A lot of other things, even give you an amortization chart once you hit view the report. And this is some things that you can bring with you. It show them the 30 year, how much it would be to pay down, so that you don't always have to call a mortgage rep and ask them, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? You can print these different reports, bring it with you for your open house. I know we're trying to be more paperless as a technology company, but I still love paper. So I can print this or I can ask a mortgage rep to do one for me. Either which way, we have options, guys. It's all in here. Just take your time and looking up what you need to look up for your buyer to help them the best way you can. The information.
So Karen, how do you do your net sheets? Do you rely on the mortgage broker to do all that?
Yep, I feel I'm a realtor. I'm not a mortgage broker, so I'd rather have credentials from one of the mortgage brokers. I got plenty of them that don't mind doing that. So let them do their job while I do mine effectively. But it's here. I'm just showing you that it's there. If you want to do it, it's all up to you. Me, I just say I'm doing an open house this weekend, that weekend. Can you do me this sheet? And they do it. I send them an MLS sheet and they do it for me. And I'm not sure, did I show you how to send an MLS sheet? Yeah, I did. I show you how to email that. So you just email it to the client or to the mortgage broker. They got the information on there. They know everything. And you'll get your PDF of the documents with the breakdown and the current rate without you having to worry about doing all that. So if there's no more questions on this part, we have finished the MLS. I'm going to go over buyer consultation, not the buyer consultation, the buyer paperwork in command. Everybody know how to get to the command, how to make sure they do a contact, how to start a transaction. Everybody good with that so far? So I'm just going to show you how to actually do the paperwork. And I'm just going to go to one that I already did. And we're going to review the documents together. Now, Katie Jo does classes on command every week, every day, 11:30. So if you're not familiar with the command system, make sure you jump on that. She will do a one-on-one with you if you need that. Remember I talked about the tax record? I always put the tax record in my room. So, because you're going to refer to it for your lot and your block, the seller's name, all the information. Don't really take the information off the MLS, because if you take the information off the MLS, the block and the lot, and the agent just happened to be wrong, you're copying her wrong mistake. So I always verify my own information with the actual tax record. So in here, you would drop your buyer pre-approval. If you're working with the tenant, you're going to drop their information, their ID, their credit, their NTN, all that information. Our first class in January, we're going to do NTN. We're going to have Elizabeth, our personal rep for NTN, do about 20 minutes on Zoom and take us through the process. So please make sure you join me for that class. COVID. We don't want to be sued if somebody get COVID as a result of being around us. So we want to make sure that the buyer and the seller both sign off on a COVID disclosure. The address and the date. Just pretty much is saying, we hold you harmless, Karen, if we get COVID. We hold you harmless, Keller Williams, if we get COVID. So the less we can expose ourselves to a suitcase, the best.
Hey, Karen, I have a quick question for you. So on some of the properties, they don't have the hold harmless when you're doing showings. So they don't have one loaded in the documents. Now, if we create one and the buyer is signing it, but we don't have the tenant signing it or the seller signing it, is that okay?
That's okay, because a lot of them don't have it, and you call, and again, they somewhere in Timbuktu and can't get you the seller's copy. So you want to keep moving forward. You create one for your seller, for your buyer or your tenant, and you just put the details in. You did your part in making sure that your tenant or buyer is not going to sue you or us, because you're the one showing.
Got it. Okay, that's what I did. I just created it, put the address in of the property, made the buyer sign it. It just doesn't have a seller signature. So thank you.
And if you're showing different, this is 25 Crescent, but if I show Sam another property, I would just go in and change the information, and send him out a new one for a new property.
Yep, I've created a separate one for each property.
Don't create a new loop, just create a new document in the same loop, because the client is the same until you find close on something.
Yep, I just added that same document multiple times in the same loop.
Right, very good. And then remember the lead, we got that from off the MLS. It's already filled out. Please don't let your buyer fill out a blank lead, because it's not saying if they have reports or they have no reports. So if you let them fill out a blank one, we don't know if they have any lead in the house. We don't know if they had any reports about the house in lead. So make sure that the seller has always signed it, the listing agent has already signed it, and then get your buyer to do the signatures. And you, as the buyer agent, tenant agent, you have to sign as well.
Yeah, Karen, you won't believe how many blank forms I see on the MLS.
Yeah, I could believe you 100%. And if you flag it with the MLS, it will correct it. Now, this is the Attorney General memorandum. They just updated this in September. So I said, let me read it. 18 years, I have never signed it. But it says, both you and your licensed broker or salesperson should sign the last page of this notice to acknowledge compliance with REC's requirement. Each of you should retain a copy of this signed notice for your records. So guys, let's start signing the Attorney General memorandum. You should read it too. It's good information. Consumer information statement, your client needs to know how you're representing them. We can represent them as a buyer agent or disclosed dual agent. Most of the times you're listing your lead. That means we're going to be disclosed dual agents, I will hope 75% or at least a good 60% of our transactions because we're getting both sides. So make sure you read it, make sure your buyer sign it. When you're initially going out, they just have to have a copy of it. But when you get ready to write that contract, we need it actually signed. One little complaint with compliance that always kick back on you, this declaration of license, Karen Sims, make sure that's always filled out and what agency that you represent. In this case, it's a buyer and disclosed dual agent. Otherwise, compliance will send it back. I forgot Karen Sims a few times.
So let's say you sign that form. Initially, you're just a buyer's agent, right? And then you're going for bringing your client to a listing that's also by the same broker. You got to get your client to sign it again as a dual agent?
Well, if you're signing, normally you're just giving it to them, but if you're having them sign it up front, you should always start off a buyer agent and disclose dual agency because it says if the opportunity arises.
Ah, I see. Okay. Yeah, because I've always been checking the buyer's agent only, but I think going forward, I'll do that one. That's probably a better option.
Yeah. Now, if you done showed everything and now you're doing your paperwork and you know you're only working as a buyer agent, then yeah, just sign a buyer agent. But if you just starting everything and you going out and you getting them to do the exclusive buyer agency agreement and sign the CIS, then yes, sign this side because you don't know if you're going to be showing a KW property or not. And that's a KW for Jersey City or Bayonne. Any other KWs, we're not disclosed dual agents. It's just happened that we all KW, but we're not under the same umbrella because each office is independently owned and operated. So
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because what I'm finding is that our office is just completely dominating the space in Jersey City. We've got so many listings. There's a pretty good chance that we're going to run into one of the properties that are owned by the same brokerage.
And then when you get your own listings, you're going to be a disclosed dual agent. I can almost guarantee you as a listing agent, I close probably about, I want to say 75, but I'll be humble and say about 60% of all my listings are my disclosed dual agent. You're listing your lead. So just get in the habit of being a disclosed dual agent from the beginning. And it's more money for you, so put it in your mindset. Gravity Title, moving forward in the new year, I'm not sure if we're going to be totally affiliated with Gravity Title, but until then, just is an acknowledgement. They're not agreeing to Gravity Title. They're just acknowledging that we have a business relationship with Gravity Title if they should use it. KW is benefiting financially from Gravity Title. The disclosure. The vetted attorney list. These are all attorneys that, title company has working relationship with. If you have an attorney that you like and you want to get on the list and you think they would support our title company, we can speak with Pam and get that attorney on the Gravity Title vetted attorney list. Next year in February and January, we're going to have Laura Fisher with us. We're going to have Marty Broski with us. And I will get through the whole list as we get through the whole year so that we meet and greet these attorneys. So it's not like a blind handoff. When you have your clients come in, you don't know the attorney, they don't know you, you scared, they scared. Build a relationship so that when we do get that opportunity to present our client with an attorney list, we know some of these attorneys. So jump on those classes, please. Our next document would be the commission bill. We don't really do until we actually get the closing and close out, but you're responsible for the commission bill. You don't have to call me and say I need a commission bill. You don't have to call Patricia. You go in your loop or your room, you fill it out with the information. You put the price in there, you put the fee in there, you put what's due to you. You sign it and you send it to the attorney and to the title company.
I think I may have filled this one incorrectly for once. Can you just talk about the different items that you have to enter here? There's one for the fee. Is that when they say 2% minus 250, would that 250 come in as a listing fee? Because that's what I put down.
So in this case, the commission is 360. The sale price is 360. Commission gonna be on here 6%. The listing fee would have been 300.
But let's just say you're
Take
doing it as a
the
buyer's agent,
commission,
though,
so the
as a buyer's agent.
2.5, and then the 250 would go here. So
Okay,
2.5
all right, so I
of
did
the
it right.
360, and then that amount minus the 250 will give you your total commission due. So if that was 10,000 minus 250 would be what, 9,750? That's what you would put there.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks.
Protect your family from lead. It's nothing that they sign. It's just they acknowledge that it was sent in your folder, that you sent it to them. You see the difference between this one being green and that one being blue? The green means it was sent to them. So it's like their signature. There's the addendum regarding coronavirus. So you have your hold harmless, but then you have this addendum. So this addendum gives the buyer the opportunity, if they can't close due to COVID, that they can actually cancel the contract. Or that closing, say, was supposed to be December 31st, and now they got COVID or something related to COVID, then you're going to give them 30 days to try to get that closing back on the table within 30 days. If not, you're giving them the opportunity to cancel. Some attorneys will reject this addendum, and some attorneys will accept it. Some sellers will refuse to sign it, like, nah, they stuck. If we get through attorney review and all inspections and appraisal, and yeah, now you're gonna tell me, no, I'm not signing that. So we can try to get them to sign it and accept it, but the attorney might get to the point where they actually reject this on an attorney writers. Our job is just to get it signed and presented.
Hey, Karen, if someone signs that addendum and does get COVID and eventually, unfortunately, dies, what happens then?
If they die, then the contract is voidable. Hopefully that don't happen to no one, but yeah, they can void it at that point. Let's go to the exclusive buyer agency before we go to the other one. So exclusive buyer agency, and you will get pushback with this from investors, especially investors, because they want to run and work with everyone. If you get pushback, just put in your compliance the client refused to sign an exclusive buyer agency agreement. I've have to put, like this one, I put 25 Crescent Avenue because I know he's an investor. I know he's working with multiple people. I just need him to be exclusive to me for this property. And that's all I care about. If I get more business from him and we build that relationship of trust, and I can then put that on with, him not worrying about going to other agents. It takes time to build relations sometimes with investors. So, this is my first time with him. I want him to be comfortable. I want the deal to go through. So I'm going to make sure that in my exclusive buyer agency agreement with him is just for this property. Normal buyers, I don't do that with. Investors, I do that with. Again, the agreement agency, I generally do a 3-month agreement agency. And then if I find them something that's not on the MLS, that they will pay me my broker fee of 2.5%. And then 30 days after this date, so 30 days after the 11th of March 2021, anything that I showed him and worked with him, he's still responsible to pay my fee if it was something that I found off the MLS upwards of 30 days. Or if it's on the MLS, the other agent still will honor that was my buyer, that I showed that they will pay the commission This way, it makes it where the buyer is not going back behind our backs with the seller after closing to try to make a deal with the seller. This is your protection.
So Karen, like, let's just say that you really don't want to, obligate the buyer in paying the commission. You just want to say, well, it's zero, and whatever the seller pays, right? How would you put that on this form?
That's for something that's not on the MLS. Because
Yeah, well, let's just say that you don't really want the buyer to pay you. If the seller doesn't pay, then you want it just to maintain that relationship.
So if the seller doesn't pay and the buyer doesn't pay, you working for free?
No, I mean, if the seller pays, he pays. Like if it's 2% on the MLS, then yeah, you'll take it.
All right, so this buyer is excluding everything that's not on the MLS.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
find
This
him
section
in the
kind of
course of your
confused me
result,
because I wasn't really sure what it meant, because I didn't really, like, if they went for a FISBO, I wouldn't force them to pay. Like I would
no,
just
they
let it.
went for a FISBO. They went for a FISBO. You didn't go for it. But if you went for that FISBO for them, and you can't get that seller to pay on that FISBO the fee, then this is your agreement with the buyer that they will pay you a fee. You get
Right.
it?
Okay. Yeah.
But if they went directly to a FISBO, you pretty much out of it. But if you did it, this is for your efforts in working for them. So buyer agency agreement can have some gray areas. If you sign this agreement, this was the 11th, but I totally left Sam in the dark until next year. Never came back and did anything. In the meantime, Sam decided to go with Ahmad and purchase something. I abandoned Sam because I haven't talked to him since 2011. Sam picked him up and started working with him. I don't have no recourse because I have no track record of showing emails that I had a consistent relationship with him. I just have one document that I signed the 11th, but I don't have any follow-up emails, anything to connect that I was working with Sam and introduced him to the property. So if you abandon your client, even though you have an exclusive buyer agency agreement, you're not getting paid. You're just not. If you have a buyer exclusive agency signed and you can show that you've been consistent, that you introduced the property, that you showed the property, there may be a little fight that I can fight with you. Ultimately, it's the buyer's choice to use who they want to use to purchase their property. So even though you have a buyer exclusive agency agreement, it's very tough to enforce a lot of times. And you just want to make sure that you don't abandon the client, that you have a paper history, that you have an email history with them, even a text, a phone call, something. But the moment you abandon it and another agent pick it up, it's kind of hard to fight for something that you dropped the ball on. This agreement also can be canceled at any time. The buyer just say, I no longer wish to work with you under exclusive buyer agency agreement. And then there's nothing you can do. All right, informed consent to do an agency. A lot of times you're listing your lead. That means you're going to automatically be getting a lot of buyers for your property. So you want to make sure that the buyer already is informed that you'll be representing both the buyer and the seller. When I explain this one, there's no unfair leverage over one person over the other. I just have to make sure that I inform if there's any material defects to the property. I will let you know that. But if they're getting a divorce, that's none of your business. If you getting a divorce, that's none of the seller's business. I'm just the mediator to translate the purchase price that you're willing to pay for the property, not to give you any unfair advantage. So hold harmless and release. We did that one. Wire. This has been probably, I would say, last 2 years or so. we've been having issues with people intersecting your email as if they're Karen Sims and send it to your client, that the wire instructions have been changed to send your money now to this account. As agents, we don't get involved with wires. We don't give any information. This is our statement letting them know that they will never personally get a call from us or our firm. They'll never get an email. So if they did, it's fraudulent for them to hang up and call their attorney directly ASAP. Do not send any monies to anybody without first consulting with your attorney. So if you're getting something that says Karen Sims and you already signed documentation that I wouldn't do this. So please don't get your money lost in the system, because there are a lot of fraudulent people out there. And that's how you pretty much explain that. You as an agent will never give them information on wires. And then our biggest thing is our contract. That's where your meat and potatoes is. Your first part of your contract is your exclusive, your notice, opinion 26. Again, you represent both the seller and the buyer, or you represent just the buyer, or if you was listing, you just represent the seller. This case is both. You're going to have them both sign, and then you're the representative for both the selling and the listing broker, and this contract was prepared by you, the agent. We pretty much just make sure the lines are filled in. The attorney's going to take this whole contract and disapprove of it. So when you see your attorney writer and it says contract is hereby null and void, but approved if amended and approved by these terms, and then they do their whole rider based on this contract. So don't get crazy when you see that letter. They're just revising the contract. Seller's information, buyer's information, their addresses, if you have it. If you don't sweat it, as long as their names are there. Property address, very important. The lot and block, again, we got that from the tax record. Purchase price. We don't do initial deposits pretty much. Keller Williams will never collect a deposit. So if they have $1,000 good faith deposit, that will have to get payable to one of the attorneys, whether it be the seller attorney or the buyer attorney. But Keller Williams, we do not take any money, so don't ever make a check payable to us for a deposit. Additional deposit in this case was $10,000. It's not going to be a mortgage, so the balance will be $350,000 cash at the closing. And these numbers could get tricky. Long as all your numbers below here add up to your top number, you know your numbers are right. So if this was 340 and that was 10, my numbers didn't add up to 360, it would be wrong. Initial deposit, again, other 10 days after attorney review. The money is going to go to Martin Brodsky attorney trust account. In this case, I knew who the seller's attorney was, so I know who to make the check payable to. This case, it was cash. If it was FHA, VA, conventional, then you would click the amount. If there was a principal amount on the mortgage, so say if that 350 was the mortgage amount, that's where that would go.
Hey, Karen, it seems that most of the contract work is done on the buy side. And I'm just curious with the signatures for the seller on this document. Do you call the agent and ask for the seller's details, or do you go and DocuSign and basically just say, let the selling agent provide the details when they do the signature?
So I'm taking their name from the tax record, but for their signatures, unless it could go a few ways. So you have some agents that's not computer savvy, so you say, send me the seller information, seller's email, and I'll send it directly. I've done that. I've had where I had to get the buyer printed and then send it off as a PDF to the agent because they don't do nothing electronically. This case, the seller was computer challenged. I had to actually print it, send it through the mail, have her sign it and get it back. So it all depends on how savvy that person is with that listing agent. If they trust you with their client's email address, most of the time you just send it as a PDF. Once you get your buyer signature, send it to the listing agent. It's their job to get the signatures. But if you're representing both, it's your job. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Yeah, because I did ask for the email address for one of my buyers, and the listing agent said no. So
Okay.
he wouldn't provide the details. So instead, what I did is I sent him the document, and then he said that his client can't use a printer. So so then he said, like, to do it another way, and I found a way in DocuSign where I can put the listing agent's name down, where he basically gets the DocuSign, and then he provides the client's email that he puts in the document and sends it,
Yeah,
and it automatically sends it. Yeah.
that's true. So it all depends on how you're working with the listing agent, how trustworthy that listing agent is of you. It could be smooth, or they could be non-trusting of nobody, and therefore will do it all themselves. In terms of the mortgage, if it's a 15-year, if it's a 30-year, that will go there, and most of the time, if it's a 15 or 30-year, the same number will go here. In this case, it's not a mortgage commitment. If there was a mortgage commitment, I generally do it 30 days from the contract from the contract date. So if that was 2/11, my mortgage commitment would be due 1/11.
I'm working with a client right now that's using an FHA loan, and I'm just curious, like, do you find that there's some degree of hesitation from sellers to go with the FHA loans?
So if you have multiple offers, yes, that seller is more than likely going to choose a conventional loan. In the past, FHA have been a little bit more pickier, have underappraised. If there's peeling paint required, it's done before closing. Um, I had with VA, a light bulb was out, and the appraiser would not change it, would not do it until we changed the light bulb. So that was years ago. I don't think VA is that stringent anymore, but FHA still would knock you down for peeling paint, whether it's in the basement, whether it's on a brick wall in the backyard. I've had to have my brother paint a brick wall in the backyard. I have had contractor paint brick concrete wall that somebody painted over in the basement that had to get painted. So a lot of times, because FHA requires some little things to be done, yeah, a seller would pick a conventional over FHA, unfortunately. All right, so the balance of the purchase, which is that 350, will be due at the closing. So if somebody was doing a mortgage and the balance of the down payment was only 20,000 and the mortgage was 340,000, then that 20,000 will be also due the day that we close. And this is pretty much your closing date. Again, we're pretty much filling in the blanks. I didn't put in here, but on a single family is about $250. I just did it for a condo, and I came out and paid a total of $223. And that was to make sure I get the notary for the smoke certificate, carbon monoxide combo with the smoke detector, and a 2A 10 by 10 BC fire extinguisher. All that came out to $223. So generally $250 for a single family, $500 for a two family. Same with the condo, $250. Generally, you let the owner take care of this. My owner's out of town, so I'm moving things along. I'll get paid at closing. Municipal assessments, if you know, then you would check the box if there is or if there's not. Next box that you're looking for, tenants. If it's vacant, not applicable. If it have tenants, applicable. This I just put vacant at closing. It's a son. You don't pay no rent. so he just got to go. Lead-based paint, I should have put applicable, so that I did not check. But again, everything's subject to amendment through the attorneys. 2-day notice for the seller to get back to me on the buyer, the same thing, 2 days. So I'll present this offer 2 days later. I'm expecting to hear back from the seller. And then once the buyer get it 2 days, he has to respond back. Minimum will be like, the maximum is like 3 days if we leave it blank. Point of entry, we don't use that type of system here. We don't use cesspools here. So we don't.
So Karen, just about the vacancy thing, like if there's tenants there that are non-paying right now, right? Because I ran across one of the properties that was like that. The tenant wasn't paying rent; he was just staying there, and he refused to pay rent. And so the eviction moratorium is still in place, but I assume it's still in place. But if your client buys a property, like, does he have to have the tenant there, or can you like legally kick him out now?
How you gonna legally kick them out? Cause the courts ain't open yet.
Well, what's that?
The court's not open yet. You can't legally kick nobody out.
So if they buy the property, they're also buying a non-paying tenant.
Yep.
Oh dear. Okay. Thanks.
I would tell them to consult an attorney ASAP. If you go back, there should be a YouTube class with Tara Miller on that whole process. I think that moratorium is coming due the end of this month, unless they extended it. But you might want to go back, look at that YouTube with her on there, questions and answers, and she give a lot of information. And her information should be on that one, so that you can have your client consult with an attorney, or they can consult with their own attorney before they get into that. All right, inspections. Point of entry, POET, we don't have that. Cesspools, we don't have that. If you're working in different areas, that will apply. So just make sure you know about cesspools if you're working in those. 10 days. Everything had to get slowed up a few years ago because everything was moving. This used to be 7 calendar days. Actually, it used to be 10 calendar days. We was trying to do it in 7. Industry slowed it down so that everybody could take their time and know what they're doing and signing. So 14 days became into place. I keep it down to 10, only because we're in a pandemic and we're down to the end of the year with holidays. Otherwise, with cash buyers, I would make them do the inspection in 7 days. Stop wasting time. Y'all know you're gonna do it. It's cash. It's as is. So no need to drag it out. But because we're in a pandemic and because the inspectors are highly busy and because we're going on holidays, I extended that to the 10 days. So that 10 days doesn't start until we're out of attorney review, however. Same with inspections for, that one was for termites. This one is for regular inspections or any other inspection. Termites is really a responsibility of the seller. So if there's termites, don't let your buyer go crazy that they don't want the house or this. Unless there's terrible structural damage, termites is treatable. So don't let them get scared. It's only about $1,000 to treat for termites. And I think it lasts for like 2 or 3 years, the warranty. So don't let them try to get out because of termites. It's treatable. Next. And again, we're just pretty much looking for what we need to fill in on the contract. The attorney is going to revise everything, don't forget. Our information will go here. If you're disclosed through an agency, we'll go there. Again, the other agent information, if you're just a buyer agent, then you will put Brand X information and they will be a seller agent. Keller Williams, remember I showed you on the MLS, the ID number. Let me see if it's still open. Yes, it's still open. Let's go to a more recent one. You see over here, the license number will be there, so that's where you get it, and the licensed salesperson will be right there. Somebody's working right now, and I'm sorry, that's my annoying phone. And that's where you put those two numbers. The address, the information, commission. Now, because this is mine, I'm putting a commission out there. Generally, if you're the listing agent, it's as per listing agreement. The other brand X, same thing. If this was a brand X, their license number, that other agent information, and then a commission. You don't fill out a listing agent's commission. It's always just going to be as per listing agent. Don't assume because they're paying out 2.5% that they are getting 2.5%. Their commission is none of your business because that's what they negotiated. They might only get 1.5%. So don't take the liberty to put in their amount. I only put in my amount because this is my transaction, both sides. And don't ever question a listing agent about why they're getting more or less. None of your business. What you pay out is what you accept. If the seller is a real estate agent, they have to disclose that. In this case, no. If you have any of these addendums, you have to add it to there. So if you have an FHA client, you have to have that. The lead base, I should have checked that off because yes, it is lead base. Coronavirus, I should have checked that off. I do have my documents. It is not subject to a mortgage. A mortgage may make me go back and check those. This is cash, so it's pretty much the attorney's rewriting the rider any which way. Only one thing that the seller was concerned about was that the buyer will remove anything left in the property at closing should be just limited to items in the basement. Buyer agreed to that. He signed off. Seller agreed. They both signed an issue, and the contract has been concluded. Any questions as far as the contract? Any questions for any of the documents? Everybody straight? Any questions for anything? CMA, contract?
Yeah, Karen, can you go back to DocuSign? Was there a way to rename the documents? Like, you know, the way when you download a template, and it's got the fixed name. I was just wondering if there is a way to rename them.
So are you talking about where you're talking about within this?
Let's just say you add a document from our list, and it's like, for example, the contract of sale, or it would be offer to purchase a property. Let's just say it's an offer. Usually what happens is the PDF is added, but it's got a generic name, but you're using that document 15 times. Maybe you're making so many offers because there's just so much competition, but it's always got the same name, and I'm having to rename it. Yeah, you should scroll down some of the documents there. Where is it?
Let's go with a document I don't need. I don't need affiliated business disclosure. I can always archive, get it off my dashboard. So I don't.
But can you rename it? I didn't find a way of renaming them.
Oh, rename this here? The actual
or cloning
document it is? I would doubt that. Yeah, no, I would doubt that. Only if you had actually downloaded from your own hard drive one of the documents.
Yeah, but I think if you add it from your own hard drive, you lose all the tags, the pre-tags that are in DocuSign. So
no, you can't change that. That's driven from KW. When you add your documents to here, that's already.
So let's just say you get an offer the offer one. Which one is that one? Offer to purchase. There it is. So let's just say you add that. But then you got multiple offers on different properties that you have because maybe one of them gets rejected. it's still, the document still has the same name, even though it's like different properties. So it just gets a little bit
It
confusing.
gets confusing. That's why what I do when I get too many things that I don't need, that I know doesn't apply, I just archive that that one that I don't need. So say if it was 25 Crescent, and then that one didn't go through, and I went to 118 Seaview. Just archive 25 Crescent, so that 118 Seaview and 25 Crescent, when you go to actually put it, once you get accepted, those two, even though it's in your same room, you won't get confused. Otherwise, you're gonna have to do a whole new document with a whole different name. So you would have to keep one for 25, and then you would have to keep one for 118. So instead of doing that, just archive what you don't need.
Oh, okay. All right.
Now, don't archive the first one, because you can always go and change the first one to whatever you need, the one that's not signed. Just archive the one that is signed. So this one, you can keep making changes. So if you have to change it from 350 to 375, you can change this one. If you have to change it from 25 Crescent to 118 Seaview,
Yeah, but you see a lot of these fields though, they're like, if you put the cursor over it, it says like it's pre-populated from a field. I find it hard to figure out which field it's populated by, so that I can go back into the
so here's how to do that one when it's pre-populated. Let's just say that one. Over here in details. All right. Details. So over here in your details, just edit your details over here. I don't know why I'm coming up with an error, but on your detail page, just go change it from 18. Ooh, that's why I gotta go back and change that from 118 Seaview, from 25 Crescent to 118 Seaview. Just change the details, and then all your documents will auto populate to the right thing.
Yeah. Do you have to manually edit that? That's not done from command, is it?
Now you're gonna have to manually do that. Let me go back in there and change that. I don't want that messing up nothing. That was 366. Let's save and close that. Okay. Now let me go back to my details and make sure I didn't screw that up. All right, we're back. Yeah. Yeah, you just change it from your detail page. That's it. Or from your document, by just changing the same document and just adding it again. So you just could keep on adding the offer to purchase here, and then another offer to purchase, and another offer to purchase, and just keep on changing the information that you need on that offer to purchase until you get the right one. But please don't do offer to purchase unless you're dealing with commercial, or if the listing agent asks you to only do the offer to purchase, or I would use the offer to purchase if I know they offering a ridiculous amount and don't want to waste my time, but want to make sure that, I at least service what they ask. Always try to do a contract up front.
You mean like if you're making an offer to do a contract of sale instead?
Yeah. If you're doing an offer to purchase, that's saying something as you as an agent, you're being lazy. So you got your contract, especially when we used to do face-to-face. Now a lot of things is over the phone. You don't want them to do an offer to purchase just to hunt them back down or re-sign another contract, a full contract. No, just do the thing from the beginning, right. Do it, take your time, do it. Don't do the offer of purchases. Because if I'm at that point where I want to get my seller to sign, and I still got to go back to do a full contract, and it's not commercial because the attorney do it if it's commercial, you just wasted time, and then somebody else could come in there and sign another contract, come in prepared, and boom, the seller done signed. So just take that extra minute or two, do the full contract. Don't do the offer to purchase, please.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Hey, Karen, are short sales, bankruptcies, and probate properties typically listed on the MLS?
So yes, you have your REOs that's on the MLS. You have, if it's a short sale, the listing agent needs to disclose that it's a short sale. So yes, they are on there. Bank-owned properties are known as REOs, so they are on there as well. Foreclosures, they come in a way of being listed, but most of the time by third-party sites like Hubzu. We'll do auctions on some of the foreclosures. But most of the time, the foreclosures don't really hit the MLS. It's the REO, the after effect. The buyer done went, the bank done went back and brought the asset back, and now they put it back on the system. They may put it in through an auction, or they might just put it on the MLS. If they put it in on auction, they're going to use a third party. If they put it on the MLS, they just use a regular agent, and it becomes an REO bank owned.
So there are additional fees to that, though, right? I mean, I ran into something really strange. So my client made an offer on a property, and then it was basically an auction property, and the listing agent said that my buyer had to pay his commission. I thought, well, that's a bit weird. Like,
There's different ones out there. So there's $250 fines. There's 1.5 origination fees. You have to read the instructions as to what that bank is requiring. But yeah, they are there out there. We deal more with the REOs, Della. But if we come into, when we come out of this mess with pandemic, we're probably going to be facing a lot of short sales. So next year, I think Marty will be speaking, I think February 23rd, February 13th, but it'll come out ahead of time. But it'll be a whole seminar on short sales.
Great. And you can search for those on at the MLS?
Yeah, but right now, there's not a lot of short sales.
No,
right
I
now,
understand. I'm just
they'll
wondering.
be on the MLS. Like today, the one I just talked about for 207 Bowers, we dropping it from 219 to 195. It's going into a short sale. So they'll start coming, but pretty much we're still in a market where we can generate equity still. So there's very, very little short sales out there.
yeah, there was a flag. The one that I showed came from the MLS, and there was a flag on there. If you look at the Hudson County MLS, it actually says bank owned.
If it's bank owned, it's supposed to say it. If it's a short sale, it's supposed to say it. Everybody
So Karen,
good?
can you do a seminar or a workshop on commissions and one on making offers?
Commissions, so like a highest and best type workshop.
Yeah, I guess, I'm a little confused as to when speaking about commissions to clients. You guys say we have is it 5% or 6% is the minimum for a Keller Williams agent, but then there is the where the buyer pays one side and then the seller pays another percentage. So I'm just a little confused as how that works. And
That would be exclusive buyer agency, and that would be your buyer will only pay if you found something that's not on the MLS. If there's something on the MLS, seller always pay the commission. But if you go find something that's not on the MLS and you can't get that FSBO to pay the commission, then that's when the buyer will pay the commission. And you use your exclusive buyer agency agreement to get them to pay the commission. But I can add that in one of our next classes to speak more on the commission.
And with the NAR and the DOJ situation, are we still allowed to say that our services are free to the buyer, or is that sort of, we're not allowed to say that anymore?
That was brought up in our last with the NJR seminars that we just went through. I've never in 18 years said I work for free for anybody. I always use the exclusive buyer agency agreement, which states that if I found them something that's not on the MLS, that they would pay my commission, whether that be 2.5% or 3%. So never have I used language that I work for free. Never will I use that language neither. That's why I'm working for myself.
Yeah, that sort of makes sense. But you know, if the buyer says, well, you know, how much do you charge? And you know, you want to word it in such a way that, well, look, the seller pays the commission, you don't really pay it. But you know.
However, if I find you something that's not on the MLS, through the efforts of me going out and knocking on doors, I will have an exclusive buyer agency agreement that I would love for you to sign that says that you would pay my commission for my efforts to find you the proper and the right home.
Yeah. Okay.
And if they don't want to pay your commission, then I would never show them anything that's not on the MLS. Kevin, you got a question?
Yeah, I was going to say, doesn't that also apply to, let's say there's something in the MLS that's listed at 2%, but you signed the exclusive at 2.5, where the client then pays the difference?
Yeah, and you can use the exclusive buyer agency to try to get that difference. And then you also can have your client push back and say, no, I will not pay that difference. I've had that done too, where I've tried to enact the exclusive buyer agency agreement. And because I'm already getting paid from the seller, they directly said no.
You know what I
So
find
you
rather
can go on.
disturbing though is that, you know, like when we do the listings, especially with Keller Williams, like we're offering a really good buyer's percentage. But then when I'm showing my clients around, I find some properties coming out by like Remax agents and other agents that are offering only 1%. I mean, that's so one-sided, you know
Yeah,
what I
we
mean?
haven't had 1% commissions. We haven't had 1% commissions since Foxton's, and that was probably a good 8, 9, 10 years ago. And you see they're not in business, right? So what we used to do for those listings, we would put them in the bottom of the list. So unless my my buyer that I'm working with found that listing, I would never ever show them a 1% listing. They have to find out on the internet and say, Karen, can I see this? Otherwise, those listings didn't get shown. And that was the attitude of most of the real estate industry. We pretty much boycott Foxton's listings.
Yeah, because it's a lot of work, you know, showing you buyers, and I think being a buyer's agent is actually a lot more work than a listing agent. I
Yeah,
mean,
so everybody on this is going to commit to being listing agents, list to last.
yeah.
We're going to service our buyers, but our goal is to list to last. Everybody good? We are nearing our 2-hour mark. Any other questions?
No, Karen, but thank you so much for doing this. And I hope you have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Enjoy your time off. Please be safe. Coronavirus is still out there. I know everybody want to gather together, but please be safe with your families. And next year we're going to have a lot of great speakers. So please join me every Wednesday, 12 to 2.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Karen.
Hey, thanks,
Merry
Karen.
Christmas.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.